Training in today's world should mean more than just PowerPoint. In our industry, we don't need warm bodies, we need knowledgeable, competent, continuously learning talent. Meyerfire University is a new resource-filled platform that delivers year-round learning with over 2,000 visuals, hundreds of on-demand videos, software tools, cheat sheets, even an iOS and Android app, all with 100% money-back guarantee. We built Meyerfire University to help you do good work. And at a cost that may surprise you, you can join too. Visit meyerfireuniversity.com and help us shape the industry that we love.
Like and subscribe.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. On this episode, I have Joe Meyer from Meyerfire University, the blog, everything else you've seen him in. Joe, how's it going today?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good. It's I talk to you on the phone probably 3 or 4 times a week. Almost as much as I talk to my wife. And every single time we wrap up a conversation, I'm like, dude, that's an episode. We could do a weekly or a daily episode of all of the things that we kind of have floating around in our head. So I finally broke you down enough to get you to come on to talk about this, because we've done presentations together virtually when COVID happened. But I'm trying to think back. Have we done an episode together?
We have.
We've done one a while ago.
It was
had been a while ago.
One of the early ones, yeah.
One of the OGs.
It would be amazing if I was episode 7. And I wish I knew the answer to that.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I should, as the guy who knows his own podcast, should know the answer to that, but I don't.
Yeah, don't you know that plaque up there that says episode number 7? Don't you remember that? I don't know.
You didn't get that from me. My wife is sending out plaques that I don't even know about.
Now you need to do plaques for everybody. That's my pitch, yeah.
I have something in the works for things that I'm going to do for guests. I'm just working on the design of it, but there is going to be something.
Versus platinum. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, gold versus platinum plaques. Yeah. Everybody's going to get like a ring that they can wear. And it's the equivalent to that engineer's pinky ring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's even better because it's more expensive. Yeah.
That's right. For some. Well, for some. Anyways, sort of on topic. We never stay on topic with any of our conversations, but the big topic that we're going to be talking about today is Meyerfire University, which it's kind of cheating because I'm also involved in a small part with some of the courses and stuff like that. But Meyerfire University has been out now for a year, 2 years, year and a half.
We are coming up on 2 years from our launch this October. Yeah.
And basically what you've created is an online training platform to take designers, either designers with limited experience, designers with 10 years experience, and kind of bringing them up to that next level. What was kind of the thought process behind starting a training platform? Did you have issues with other training platforms, or just you wanted to do something a little different?
Well, I guess the first piece is I wouldn't exactly call it training. It includes training, but not to get totally philosophical, but we've talked about this a little bit, but I didn't really intend to get into this space. Right. I was writing online. I was doing software tools, which are just quick hitting designer based, mostly suppression tools. And I was asking contractors and consultants and talking to plane reviewers and fire marshals and inspectors, and said, I got this idea for this tool or this cheat sheet or this flow chart. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they said, that's great. Yeah, we'd use it. That's awesome. But that's not what we're struggling with. I'm like, all right, well, what are you struggling with? They're like, well, we got to get people off the ground. So we're losing people to retirement. We have trouble backfilling roles, in designer and plan review spaces. Everybody's struggling with labor, not just on the install piece, but on the on the office side as well. And I said, we just got to get people off the ground. There's training that exists, but if I got somebody that's starting August 13, I can't wait till May to train them up. And with the on demand, it's great. There's 2-week courses that are phenomenal, but they're on a timetable. And even if they are on demand, they're really expensive, and we don't even know if this person's good or not. They're just starting. Right. We're just training them out. And then beyond that, they're they do a 2-week intensive. It's really good. They come back, but let's say the best case scenario is they retain maybe 60% of that. you got a whole year before they go through any kind of formal training again. They're like, we need something all the time. Like, we need to be supporting, I wouldn't say young people, people new to the industry. If they're new to the industry, we need to support them like every day, all content, all the time. Get everything in front of them that we can.
And
And so,
it's not just new. It's not just new people in the industry.
yeah,
That's the issue that, I mean, even from the fitting side, for the installing side, a lot of guys in this industry think that just because you got your ticket, you don't have to learn anymore. You're a fitter, you know it all, but that's never the case. Absolutely never the case. You should continue. I've been a fitter for, oh man, it's 12 years now. I've been a sprinkler fitter for 12 years now, which seems like a long time, but there's still stuff that I learn every day. There's something you can learn in this trade every day. The codes and standards are released every 3 years. There's always something to learn. So even from, the installation side, and I'm a designer as well, there's always something new that's going to come out. That's going to, oh, I didn't realize that. Right.
Absolutely. And that's in the PE space too. It's like, just because you get your PE, that's a threshold that we as a society deem is minimally competent. And like, our goal is not to be minimally competent.
That's from the fitting side. When you say, as soon as a guy gets PE, he's minimally competent, that's kind of funny to say. Like, when you think about a professional engineer here, there's a professional engineer. He stamped it. It's, that's it. What doesn't he know? He's an engineer. But, that's the same mindset.
Yeah.
He's a journeyman.
Yeah. It's a point in time test. And I don't want to belittle the PE. I'm a big fan. There's a lot of really good things about that. But continuous learning. I mean, it's like, I appreciate the, position that I'm in, and I'm blessed to kind of work on the things and the high impact projects that I think can help the industry. I feel really fortunate about that. And part of the good thing is with that is that I can outwardly say to the world that I'm not an expert in all these spaces.
Right.
And I appreciate that there are experts in spaces, and you go on the forum every day and you can learn something new from somebody that has way more experience and way more depth in these areas than I do. And, it's like people that don't know me or that meet me they say, oh yeah, all this stuff about it. Do you have a cheat sheet on ESFR? And I'm like, whoa. I'm not an ESFR expert. Like, that's not my space. I'll write to what I know, but in a way, it's like, because of the platform and because of being able to write articles and being in that space, like I can openly admit, like I'm a professional engineer and I've served as a qualified professional engineer in different roles and different things. But I'm not an expert in every space. And this basically, what we've created with Meyerfire University, and I say we because you are very much part of it. You say a small role, but you are very much part of it. Like, this is what I want, and this is what I have wanted, or I would have wanted if I were just coming out of school, or I'm a few years in, or right now. Like, there's areas that we have experts teach on there that I'm less familiar with, and I get to explore more depth. And selfishly, like, that's amazing, because the whole goal is that we're kind of blowing the lid off of what you can learn. With this premise, it's like a library card. You get access to the library, you learn anything you want to learn. Like, that's the goal, and that's where we want to be. Is that if you're stuck in the back office of a small group where they don't care about growing or learning or training or any of that, okay, fine. Get a subscription here, learn whatever it is you want to learn. If you're a sprinkler guy that's been doing it for 14 years, or if you're a fire alarm gal that's been doing it for 18 years and you've never learned the other side, go in here. You get all your stuff, you get all your training, but then you can learn whatever it is you want to learn over there too. And that's the goal. Is like, we're just trying to blow the lid off of the potential, that we're not holding back any information, and we're not holding back anything that it would be helpful. So, we've got video content on there, and we're known for our visuals, so that's the way we go about it. But it's like, if we can create a checklist or a flow chart or a cheat sheet or a diagram or something that just cuts right to the point, so that you can do better work, that's where we want to be, and that's what we obsess about. So, you say training. I wouldn't say training. Like, the end goal, the things that, like, we talk about this, 3 or 4 times a week, the things we obsess about as part of this is how do we actually make the person on the other side way better at what they do?
Right.
And that's not, I'm not trying to pick on anybody at all, but that's not PowerPoint. PowerPoint doesn't get us there.
Right.
And I'm not saying like, oh, well, our video is so much better in PowerPoint. That's not the goal at all. The goal is that you're actually way better at what it is you want to be doing, not that you've got a continuing education credit or that it's a certification or, you know, that you're checking a box because you need 15 hours a year. That is not the goal. It's not training in the traditional sense that we think of with slide decks. This is like uncompromised learning is really kind of what we're going for here.
The comment that you made earlier, and I new desk, so I don't have a piece of paper here, but you said, you called it basically PIT training, point in time test. Yeah. Right. You said point in time test. And I was like, that's exactly what all of these exams are. Did you study enough the week before, the day before, the night before, in your car before the test enough to pass that test? And then everything went out the window. That doesn't necessarily, tests don't always necessarily equate to knowledge. It's just on how prepared you are for that point in time. And that's 100%
or how
right.
effective you are in your role.
Yeah.
Too. You know, it's not, it's a point in time test. And I know phenomenal PEs. I know PEs that are not so. And I would say the same for NYSEC credential. Like it is a point in time at, passing with that knowledge. And that's really, really good. But that our end goal is not just to have a credential. Our end goal is to be phenomenal at what it is we're doing. If we're doing install, if we're doing estimating, if we're managing projects, if we're doing design, if we're doing inspection, we need people that are really, really excellent at what they're doing. And like, that's what you and I are about. That's what we're trying to figure out how to do. And that's what we obsess over is how do we make it so much easier and better and more productive? And at the end of the day, we as an industry do fire protection a whole heck of a lot better than we are today. Like that's where we are. You know?
So what courses right now, if somebody were to go to Meyerfire.com?
Yeah.
Meyerfire
University is probably Meyerfireuniversity.com is probably the best way to find everything. Yeah.
Gets you directly to the thing. What courses, if I were to go there right now and I just blanked and didn't say the correct website. So to say, if I didn't know where to go and I didn't, but let's say I was going to the website, what courses are available right now? Because I know there is a lot. Overall, from an hour standpoint, how many hours of training are available right now?
We're up to like 48 hours on there.
Yeah.
But again, a piece of that isn't so much like how much time did I spend sitting in my seat to accrue hours. Like hours really isn't our end goal. Our end goal is that you watch a condensed, very meat heavy, worth your time, and you can do exponentially more because of that time you spent getting that knowledge. Like that's what we're really concerned about. So yeah, it from traditional metrics, we're at 47, 48, 49 hours, something like that.
Yep.
We've got content on plan review, on the just basics of documentation. We've got a lot on the suppression space. We just released a series on hydraulic calculations. We've got a little bit on smoke control. We've got a lot on means of egress and life safety. So the space that we're operating in is kind of a wide band, a fundamental understanding of what we feel somebody should know if they've been in the industry for about 3 years. And so if you're 3 years in on code consulting on the life safety side, or you're 3 years in as a sprinkler designer, or you're 3 years in smoke control, something like that, what do you know? What do we think that you should know at that point?
Right.
That's what we want covered. And again, it's this no limit process. So just because your role today is sprinkler design doesn't mean you couldn't learn fire alarm, or couldn't know more about smoke control, or know more about code consulting and know what a fire barrier versus a firewall, means, and how that affects your system. And, do you need a damper on a 1 hour fire barrier? Well, if you're a sprinkler person, you're probably like, that's not for me. I'm not touching it,
Yeah. Does it make you wet? I don't need to know.
Yeah. You could know the answers to all those things. You can know the background and you could look at a floor plan and go, oh, I can see where all of the rated walls are going to be in this building. Like
Yeah.
it just boom, because I know that stuff. And that's really cool. Like that's the goal, is that fundamentally, we all understand that with a wide band a whole lot better, so that we're able to do our job. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the space we live in. We're working our way from the most introductory, elementary material, as we can, and then building on that to get more and more complex. So this is kind of an always growing library, if you will. And it's gonna take us a long time to kind of reach the, I don't know what you call it, the level of ambition that
Yeah.
we've got on this.
We have on
Because when you think about like everything that you would want somebody to know when they're 3 years in, and all these different facets of fire protection, well, that's a lot of content. There's a lot of stuff that you need to get there. So it's not an overnight deal, but with the pace we're going, the amount of hands we got on this, and what we're pouring into it, it's at a really good spot now. We're getting really good feedback, and I just see that getting a whole lot more traction, going forward.
So I ask you this a lot of the times just because I'm curious myself, and I don't know if I've gotten a straight answer out of this all the time. What's the end game? What's the overall, when this is done and you can take a step back and say, we did good work here? What does that look like to you? Because what I like about our conversations is you don't have that.
Yeah.
What I hate about our conversations is that you don't have that.
Yeah, it's like I operate on like basically a 6-month to 2-year window, because that's really as far out as I can see. Anything beyond 2 years it's just too far for me to predict,
Sure.
where to go and how to grow and what it'll do. But so with the platform, I see a reasonable end game, long-term end game, as it's an accessible platform that's inexpensive enough that people just are on it and can learn whatever it is they want to learn. So there's no financial barrier. There's very little financial barrier, would be the hope, compared to the value that you get. And people are on it, and we start to penetrate can you edit that out?
Not even close.
That's going to go the wrong way. That's going to be like your short clip at the beginning. I was like, hey, Joe Meyer said you want to penetrate the industry. That's not it at all. You could just scratch that whole part. But we want to get out there to the extent that we're making a real, tangible, measurable impact in how people do fire protection. And so I would think what that looks like is, a high volume user base that's spread out across different areas. So this is not just sprinkler designers, even though they could very much benefit from the platform, but it's people that are working in fire alarm. It's a lot of people in plan review, because we're getting plan reviewers equipped with the same resources that we have on the design and engineering side. So they can police a whole lot better, and they can look out for situations that they may not be looking out for now. So, and then, from a measurable standpoint, traditional training, if you will, it's just kind of like, hey, we taught the course, whether you were watching or not, or sleeping or not, that's on you.
Yeah.
That's traditional training. And that's not what we want to be doing. If we're going to have measurable and impact, what that looks like is actually seeing people's level of knowledge progress and advance far ahead of what it would have otherwise. And, continuous challenges or engagements or exercises where, we can see a tangible difference in productivity. So you're knowledgeable, but you're also able to do something with that knowledge in a real, tangible, measurable way. And I think if we are able to get there and do that on enough scale, that's where I think, these kind of gray areas of the industry that are just overlooked or ignored, or, there's parts of the standard that exist, but people haven't been doing that because, it's hasn't been done that way in this area, or it's not enforced in this area, that kind of thing. Those are
dangerous
areas where,
phrase in the fire protection industry, in any industry, is the way it's the way we've always done it.
Yeah. Or, well, they don't enforce that here. It's like, well, that's a joke. If it's
That's
in the
right.
book, it's in the book. Like, people
Yep.
are a lot smarter than me, have worked on this book for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, Unless I've got a really good understanding or a really good reason of the depth behind that, and there can, and I've got a better solution or more applicable solution, there's a lot of really good wisdom in that book. And so, I think the end game for this is a really big impact project, and I think we can do a whole lot of good if we stop thinking about training in terms of somebody delivering something and then it's hands off, and instead think about continuous support, resources, tools, and getting those in the hands of the right people that can really make a bigger difference in promoting the industry and doing it really, really well. I say, quality fire protection. I mean, we
Yeah.
have a lot of the answers already. It's just a matter of equipping the right people that can make that impact, make better decisions, more informed decisions, better code compliance, better installs, better design. We can do all of that better than we are today.
With when you're talking about the training aspect and accreditations, you mentioned accreditations. What kind of accreditations are available with this training? If you do a course, what kind of accreditation do you get? Do you get a nice certificate to slap on the kitchen on the
boring
fridge?
stuff, man. That's the boring stuff.
That is
Somebody
the boring
asked,
stuff, but it's also some stuff that people are going to want to know, because people are going to want to
somebody
know.
asked, like, so when I'm done with this, can I be like a Meyerfire level 2? I'm like, no, there's not going to be a Meyerfire level 2.
If there is somebody that's a Meyerfire level 2, I at least want to be one level above everybody else, regardless.
No, I think over time, and I don't want to promise anything I can't deliver on. So we're really, this is in the near future, and we've been experimenting with some of those concepts. But I think there are good gauges and measurables that you could use that bring feedback to a user. So you say, at this point in time, where am I really strong? Where am I weak? Where do I have opportunity to improve? Is it productivity? Is it inspections and testing? Is it fundamental code understanding? Like, there's ways that we can measure that and give that feedback back to the users so that they can improve and make informed decisions about themselves. So that's the piece there. So there is no, we're really not interested in, a certification level or replacing any of those kind of systems. That's not really the space we want to live in. What we're hyper focused on is what is relevant to doing good things in the industry, and how do we help somebody be more relevant or be better or be more productive in that space. So yes, we are certified as an International Code Council preferred education provider. It's a lot of words.
Wow.
So if you will get a certificate for continuing education credits from the ICC, and then we also are a NICET recognized training provider. So you get NICET credits as well. Those are the two certification bodies that we go through. So if you are, let's say you're 10 years in and you want to learn things or revisit topics or that kind of stuff, we've got a lot of people that do that, and that's great. They can pick up CEUs and PDHs from that as well.
How many instructors are there right now within the organization?
We've got, you would know, I would say actively there, we've got like 8 or 9, I would say, like active instructors that are working on something at any particular time.
And keep in mind, Joe, yes, I know these, but I'm asking these questions as somebody who doesn't know.
That's fair. You know this answer, Chris. I told you.
Why are you asking me this? We talk about this all the time.
How many times do I have to tell you? You have to turn in your scripts. You have to turn them in.
That's why I'm not getting anything now.
So I would say we've got 8 or 9 instructors that I would say are active. We've got a total instructor base right now. What would you say, 16?
Yeah, I was going to say 15 or 16. Yeah,
different people that are working on things. We're outlining things. The goal is that I try to. It's a profit share platform, so the instructors benefit from the growth of the platform and everything as well, and that was very intentional. The goal for me as somebody who's trying to put this together and deliver it in a way that's extremely helpful is really to marry the right content or the right subject matter with the person that's knowledgeable and passionate about it. And if I can do that well, then we get the right people teaching the right content, and it makes for a much more engaging experience, and then probably more importantly, more helpful experience.
So we've got this platform, Meyerfire University. It's got excellent visuals. It's got excellent, like the videos are starting to come, stuff like that. Where do you see fire protection training, not just with Meyerfire in general, but fire protection education? Where do you see that? I know you've got a 2-year kind of look ahead, but where do you see that in 5 years? As technology in the industry advances, so does the training. So how are you seeing? Are you seeing a lot of VR coming down the pike for training platforms? Like, I know there are things like Viking has the I call it the virtual valve room. The Viking virtual, whatever they have, their specific thing that they have. Do you see a lot of training going that direction, or do you see it maintaining the hands-on kind of old school approach?
I think it's going to be a combination of things. So, VR, AR, like those are really good. I would say buzzwords are kind of at the buzzword state
They
right
are,
now.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think more than anything, 2 years from now, or maybe 3 or 4 years from now, is that we as the consumer, as the user, we are going to have higher expectations for what the quality of any of that training or delivery needs to be.
Right.
So, it's not a secret that as an industry, we tend to lag behind other trades. If you're talking about like Revit add-ins and stuff, fire protection hasn't even recognized as a discipline in Revit. Right. It's a sub-discipline, and even then, it's like it was 5-10 years after everything else for everybody else that we got the interest in it. And so we trail other industries, but I think with the advancements that we've got in AI, with the opportunities we've got with VR, I think as a user, we're even
it's all right. Yeah, my camera's dead. Keep going.
You lost you. I think even in the fire protection space, even though we traditionally lag behind, I think our expectations are going to raise really, really fast, and we're just not going to have that same level of tolerance for just kind of, we'll have better expectations, and I think that providers will step up, and we'll all be getting better content that's more relevant to today. I'll put it that way.
Well, and hopefully we can, with new things that have come out, like application-based training. Good idea.
Are you talking about apps?
Yeah, I'm talking about the app now, like application-based training, like where people can just find training on their phones. Man, that was such a good idea. So glad that.
Okay, so to be fair, the back history of this is that Chris has been telling me for like, I don't know, since we've known each other, that I need to create an app, right? Yes. This is like, I don't know, day 2 of a conversation is, the stuff you do is nice, Joe, but you need to have an app. And I said, well, an app's that's not a problem solver. That's like a nice thing as a millennial to be like, yeah, we created an app. We're changing the world through an app. So I pushed back and said, like, listen, I can't put in 6 figures in an app development if I don't have a tangible, impactful outcome that I can get out of that. And now, in a very roundabout way, with all the university stuff we've done, we want to be accessible and always live, and we want to get past the computer barrier. So this isn't location based. You don't have to be in a specific location. You don't have to start at any time. It's daily, continuous on demand. Well, by extension, that means we need an app. And so a month ago, we released our app.
Yep.
And now you can get all of our content, the PDFs, the exercises, and all of the tools that you wanted in an app. It's all in the app now. So if you're a university subscriber, you just get it for free. It's on iOS and Android. But yes, long story short, we finally got what you wanted. It just took me like 6 years to do it.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. That is the most long-winded. You know what? I'm taking that as a thank you. I'm taking it as an attaboy. That's good. Thank you. I don't get those a lot, and I appreciate it.
It was a brilliant idea that you came up with 6 years ago, and it just took me a really long time to execute it. That's all.
That's all I needed to hear. Thank you. Well, we could wrap this up now that I've gotten that attaboy. That's all I needed. Awesome. Joe, I'm sure we're going to talk later on the phone. But yeah, what I wanted to do was kind of do a reintroduction to the university. Not that I think you need an introduction, because when we're walking around the trade shows, everybody knows who you are. They
That's
see
a
the
bold-faced
logo.
lie. That
That's not a
is
bold-faced lie.
absolutely no.
That's not a bold-faced lie. No,
Wait,
that's
okay,
not.
so maybe like 2019 when I had a Meyerfire logo was wearing it sometime, the backpack or whatever, someone said, are you the guy that writes that? And that was really cool. And we walk around together. It
Yeah.
is 100% the opposite now.
No.
There are like 10 people that recognize your face before anything Meyerfire. And that's really cool. I'm totally jealous. I'm just throwing that out there. I think that's
No. It's way cooler being Joe Meyer's friend than it is to be Chris Logan's friend. I'll say that.
I like to type behind a keyboard and not put my face. I've managed to stay off YouTube for a while now, and you're gonna ruin that for me, but that's all right.
I'm gonna take a snapshot of our episode, and that's gonna be my intro. It's gonna be the podcast logo with just a picture of you, and then this is Joe Meyer.
There's not a single person that's gonna watch that.
My viewership just goes down.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, awesome, Joe. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to link this episode up I've been bugging you for the past couple months now, but we finally got it down. Yep. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for teaching me all the things about Meyerfire University.
Thank you, man. This is always a good time.
Tell everybody again where they can go and find it.
So Meyerfire.com is the main website. If you Google that, you'll get ahead. We get it spelled all kinds of ways, and you'll end up in the right spot. All of the university content, all the learning, the PDFs, cheat sheets, flowcharts, tools, all of that kind of stuff. You can just go directly to Meyerfire University, MEYER Fire University.com. And all the information's right there.
Awesome. Check out Meyerfire University. Joe, thanks again.
You got it. Thank you, Chris.
Boom. Hey, everybody. The Laying It Down for Camp Bucko fundraiser is still going on. The donations have slowed down, but the hoses have not. This sea can is starting to get filled up. These are the ones I just unloaded from the trailer. Those are the ones that were sitting here since last year. These are all still sitting here from last year. We're looking to get donations rolling in. In addition to those hoses that I just showed you, I still have a picture that I'm going to insert right here of all the fire hoses that are still up in Pickering, Ontario. Thank you to the Toronto Social Housing for donating 95% of these fire hoses, as well as everybody else from Southwestern Ontario and Ontario for donating hoses. But let's get those donations to roll in. The link is posted below. $20 a hose. Let's get some money in. Let's support Camp Bucko. Thanks, guys.